Hey YouTube, it's the test lead, and today's video is what is Cypress and should you be using it for your automation testing? Cypress is one of the newer automation testing frameworks, but what is it and should you be using it? This video will cover what is Cypress, what are the pros and cons of Cypress, and then should you be using it? So first off, what is Cypress? Cypress is an automation testing framework. It is used for web testing, also known as front-end testing. Front-end testing or web testing involves testing the UI of a web page or application. The UI is what you see when you go to any browser and the page that's displayed, that's going to be the UI. So any back-end data or information that's handled in the background you don't see. All you see is what they display to you, which is the user interface. And I know what you're thinking, because you see my previous videos about Selenium and other web-based automation tools. Why do we need Cypress? Cypress can actually complement Selenium WebDriver, or if you're completely new to automation, it can be a better option. Traditionally, testing frameworks have a lot of different components that must be implemented in order to do end-to-end testing. Here's where Cypress is a little different. Cypress tries to solve that problem by having an all-in-one tool. Also, many web testing applications are built off of Selenium. So if you have a problem with Selenium, you have a problem with the other applications that use Selenium. Cypress is its own standalone application that doesn't rely on Selenium. Traditionally, Selenium runs remote commands through the network. Cypress actually runs in the same run loop as the application that you are trying to test. Another important factor that separates Cypress from other similar tools is everything is written in JavaScript. JavaScript is arguably one of the easiest programming languages to learn, especially if you're brand new to coding. All the JavaScript code can be tested in a web browser. Cypress also tries to stress efficiency. If you get their dashboard service, parallelization, and automated load balancing, you can have extremely fast test speeds. Cypress is also open source and free to use. That means after this video, you can go to their website and download it and start testing it out right away. And now for the pros and cons, because nothing's perfect, but let's start with the pros. The first pro is it is written in JavaScript. As I said previously, JavaScript is one of the easiest languages to learn. Also, many web pages are written in JavaScript, so it can help you out. Next, it comes bundled already with a Chrome browser already in it. If you have other browsers you want to test locally, you can implement those as well. So it's an easy setup. Whereas with other applications like Selenium, you have to download the Chrome driver and the Gecko driver and other things, but this comes bundled with it already. Next, Cypress takes snapshots during your tests. So let's say you run a line of code and you don't see what's happening in it, you can hover over that line and see a snapshot of what happened. Cypress has automatic built-in waits for assertions and other commands, so you don't have to explicitly write that in your code. So many times waiting for an element to appear on a page or for something to finish loading, instead of you putting a wait for something, it does that automatically. The biggest pro is honestly probably the speed. It runs the same way in a browser as the application would run. It's open source and free to use. So as I said, after this video, you can go try it, watch some tutorials, and it costs you nothing to actually try it out. And finally, no additional IDE to actually edit scripts. And now the cons, because nothing's perfect. So as I said previously, everything must be written in JavaScript. This also limits the flexibility of Cypress. So let's say you want to write all your tech stacks in C#, you can't because this has to be written in JavaScript. Next, sometimes very popular in Selenium is testing in multiple browsers at the same time. But Cypress, you can't do that. Also on that line, you can't do remote executions for your Cypress test. Cypress does not support many mobile native actions such as swipe. And finally, it doesn't support all browsers such as Safari. And then it's open source, free to use, but that also means there's no 1-800 number to help you out if you get stuck with a problem. You must rely on the user community on the internet. And now, should you be using Cypress? Now you know what Cypress is, you have a high level understanding of it, but should you be using it? If you need some fast tests to write up by tomorrow, Cypress could definitely be a good option for you. If you're new to coding and want to get into automation, Cypress with JavaScript, which is easy to learn, could be a nice transition for you. It's also very easy to set up, as I said previously, so it's another benefit for it. However, because Cypress is still on the newer side, many large companies have not converted to Cypress or even tried it out yet. They still rely heavily on Selenium. And you might be thinking, well, Selenium's open source also, as well as Cypress. How come companies don't rely on Cypress? How do they do Selenium? Selenium has been around way longer than Cypress. It's not even a comparison. It has a much larger user community, so if you're having problems, it's more likely that you can find a result compared to Cypress, which is a lot newer. So that's the good, the bad, and the ugly with Cypress. As I said, if you want a quick project with a quick startup, go to Cypress. But if you're going to go into a company that's more long-term, probably try Selenium or any other frameworks. If you found this video helpful at all, please like, share, and subscribe. If you want another video just like this, please take care. And hey, don't forget to learn something new today.